Hello and welcome to Agri Chat. I'm your host Jason. Some of you may know me as Reaping, but today I'm Jason Master. I'm here today with the lovely Allison Desormeux and my co-host Cohen Huggins, and we are here on location at Allison's place of business, Planted.
I am Allison Desormeux. I help run Planted in Wallerfield with my dad, and we do citrus, mangoes, avocados, grafted, and we do other fruit plants, ornamentals, and various plants experiments. It's an interesting application.
Hi, this is Cohen Huggins, farmer, gardener, home gardener, and that's about the gist of it.
Tell us about the company, tell us about Planted, and what you will do.
Okay, so Planted was only recently named Planted, like, I don't know, a few years ago when I actually registered the company. But my parents started this when I was in primary school, 99 years ago. And it's been around 40 something years now. We started with citrus, and then my dad moved on to mangoes and avocados. We specialize in grafted plants. And now we branch off into a few other things as well, but basically that's what we focus on. And there's a lot of different avenues that come up as a result of doing grafted citrus. The questions that we get from customers sometimes will just make you question some things, and then a lot of the times it's just an opportunity to educate and give people information so they can be a more educated consumer. So that's it in a nutshell. Grafted citrus, mangoes, and avocados, fruit plants, and a few ornamentals.
Nice. And what are some challenges we face on a daily basis or the challenges anyway?
On a daily basis. See, we have different challenges under different umbrellas. So the biggest one from, I guess a macro standpoint would be one, finances, because definitely you need money. You need to constantly be putting money into your business. You need to modernize. You need finances for a lot of different things. And it's not always easy to access that, especially in the last 2 years where business has slowed significantly. But the other challenge is that we don't have a traditional gardening business. Like, you can't go to the garden shop and say, I want this tool to do this. Because a lot of it applies to short crops, vegetable crops. So we have to sort of look at what is there and then MacGyver it, figure it out, make it work for us, invent things. If you walk around the yard, you'll see my workers have invented umbrellas, and they have invented all sorts of stuff to make their life easier walking in the hot sun all day. Another huge challenge is security. Security is always at the back of your mind or the front of your mind, because we have a big space. Like most people who are doing farming, you have some space. When we have acres of space, it's very difficult to secure that. Fencing for that's going to be very expensive. And then we can't really, who do you call? I have to call Ghostbusters. If something, if I have issues. So those are some of the bigger challenges. Other challenges, the weather, things that we don't have any control over. The cost of inputs, everything has increased. We're trying to keep our prices at an affordable level because we just don't think food should be that expensive. I mean, it's in a nutshell. All the other little things come off of that, but that's basically the big umbrellas under which the general problems will fit.
Okay, so how easy it is to get the source material, the rootstock and what do you call it?
Rootstock and the scion material.
Yeah, so.
What we actually bud with, that's called the scion material. That might actually be one of the easier parts, because the rootstock we grow ourselves. We go get the fruits. We have some fruits here. We've used sour orange or Volca Mariana. We have some fruits ourselves. Sometimes we don't have enough, but after years in the business, my dad has people, friends all over the place. So he has different places he'll go to source fruits so he can get the seeds. The scion material, we grow most of what we need. Sometimes it's still not enough, because sometimes, depending on the weather, the condition of the trees, you don't have a lot of science material. So we still have to go source, like over the last few months, my dad, which is 72-year-old self, has been driving up hills up in the back of Blanchard looking for, but so we have made a germplasm so that we can now in the future have our own, but those trees aren't quite ready yet. So it's challenging to get that material sometimes. You need rootstock and the sign material. That has some challenges, but most of it is we're familiar, so we can figure it out. Sometimes it's challenging to get something as simple as quality bags. Because if our regular supplier doesn't have, we have to go looking at other people and what they have as 8x11, whatever, it is not. It's not what we're accustomed to. The thickness is different. Sometimes they fat like a grocery bag, and you don't realize that till you come home after you spend thousands of dollars. Till you come back and you're trying to use it, it's like, I can't do anything with this. During COVID, we started trying to make our own soil. We couldn't get soil. Over the last few weeks, we weren't getting manure. We solved that. So challenges go up and down. Go up and down. In terms of the actual plant making material, there are challenges that we are accustomed to and we know which avenues to go down and okay, I can mitigate this way. But the plants, the chemicals, when they pull something off the shelf and there's not quite a replacement for you to figure things out. So those are more challenging, really, the materials that we have to depend on someone to make the bags, the chemicals. Those present more challenges. So, we would do it.
All right, so with the weather right now,
Mm-hmm.
the dry season we having,
Mm-hmm.
how we treating the business at the moment in regards to irrigation and taking care of the plants?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, because a lot of farmers, gardeners, they're not getting water efficiently for even basic home use.
Exactly.
Fathers to do anything for crop production or plant propagation.
Exactly.
So how are we working with that? How are we going with you and how are we working around it?
That has become a little bit less challenging in the last few months. We actually have an improved water supply. Before that, I would describe it as extremely challenging. But now we have an improved water supply, so now we're just fighting it. It takes hours of watering in the evening.
So you're taking more time?
Yes, and hours of watering in the morning. Because under normal weather conditions, we run the sprinklers.
Right.
And whichever plant needs well, it'll be okay. Now we can't. Because if this row of plants, the sprinkler doesn't quite get here, we can't leave that for a day.
Understood.
A day would be like
the plants would suffer.
Exactly.
They'll be under stress.
So we have to go through and hose. You have to know your layout. You have to know how your sprinklers covering after it's getting too wet. You have to know a lot of different things. So for us, the access to water is recently less of a problem. We hope it continues. But for other people, yeah.
It's tough. All right. So in regards of the amount of work accomplished when you're having a water issue or your production, what percentage you say drops if you're running into a water issue that you're trying to get things done? You have a certain amount of time to do it, but now we have to use a hose to water the plants instead of putting on the irrigation system.
That cuts back. I would call that at least 40% of what you have. This is what I have scheduled for the day. So what I would normally want to do for today.
Right.
But now hours of my time, effort, and energy, because when you come out of that, you're
drained.
You are drained.
It's taking a lot.
Yeah. So I would say 30 to 40% of your daily production is affected by now having to do all this time effort.
Just irrigation.
To just plant survival, essentially.
Correct. Because as plants die, you lose money.
Exactly.
But you still have your cost of expense for production.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
With regards to the new fan and hoses, do you all have to apply for any special permit or anything? Because I can hear people say now, this hose she say?
Well, WASA. I'm not sure for WASA company. Historically, for the last how many years that WASA has put out their notices of restriction on hoses, people in agriculture called and asked, okay, what are your provisions for farmers? What are your provisions for people who are not looking to water their farm, but who are looking to survive, to protect their livelihood, who have money to pay your bill? What are your provisions for that? They were No provisions that we have seen, nothing is written, nothing is told. There were no provisions for the many people in Trinidad and Tobago who have to. I have thousands of plants. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? So, my answer to that is probably that's off camera. But but you know, when WASA comes and says these are the rules that apply for you, this is the policy that applies to farmers, to people who must water their plants for their livelihood, then we can have a conversation. But now there's no conversation to be had because there is no box for me to fit into.
And it's still understood. I often see posts on Facebook that will show Trinidad golf course, and people calling on them, but they have their own pond or lake or whatever.
But Anthony,
Wasa, thank you. Wasa claims to own all the water, so I don't know how things work. No.
We store rainwater if it's raining. We do have a big open tank of fish tank that we store rainwater in, and we actually have the majority of our plumbing hooked up to that system, so we're not fully dependent on the water that Wasa provides. When it's raining, well then it becomes a whole other issue. But then there's the water at night time belonging to Wasa too that I collect from that the good Lord Jesus sent me. No. Anyway.
All right, so let's go to our next part. Your plants are getting the water needed on time. They're getting a little stressed out. What about pest and disease? Any difference in regards of when the conditions hotter and you ain't getting the amount of water to the plants that you might see a rise in pest or disease with the plants? And if yes or no, how it is deal with the situation?
We have a chemical over here called Bioforge. My dad does the chemicals more than me. Right. But we do have to give it certain things to help balance out that stress. Just like when we have too much rain, we have to go to things to prevent bluebird, like the flora. We do have to now treat these plants so that they're not as stressed out. But you also have to balance that with you can't really go spraying when it is extremely hot.
Correct. So pay attention to the weather.
Right. So the workers are coming in at 6 a.m. Sometimes they let them come in later, they leave later because you have to know time when you're doing some job.
And you never see no more working hours.
Exactly. Right. Well, we have breaks with us, thankfully, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a constant juggle. It's not like I'm going to work in an office and these are my tasks for today, and it doesn't change that much. Is you constantly have to keep swinging with the changing circumstances, whether it's the weather or the water or the water police or whoever it is a constant juggle and changing.
Understood.
So some days you're very productive and some days you aren't survivable.
Understood. And in regards to your cost of production, when you have these issues with water and pest or disease, your plants have a price at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And the thing is, your price to produce might be higher, but your price of your plants are the same.
Right.
So how does that affect the financial part of the business?
Well, we have to balance it. There are some things we have a little more leeway with.
Right.
So you will have your plants, look, okay, this is my money maker. Mm-hmm. And you will have your plants that are like, all right, this is just daily break profit. Yeah. Daily make a profit, keep production afloat, keep my customers happy. So yeah, you have to do that balance. So I must have my little money maker over here.
Right.
But I also want to, I can't fluctuate. I can't say, well, it's $40 today and it's $50 next week.
Exactly. Because your cost of production went up. The thing is, people want consistency in prices.
Right. So then we, on the back side of that, one of the, I guess the advantages that came out of COVID is we learned now how to make our own liquid litter, how to start making some of our own fertilizers. I'm composting.
So more self-sufficient.
Right. I'm composting a little bit more. So you become a little less dependent on having to purchase some things because we have the space,
So you utilize it. Yeah.
Right. So you're on the back end of it. You try to now, all right, let me mitigate some of the costs over here. So, yeah, it's a job.
What do you enjoy most about this job? If anything at all.
I enjoy a lot about it, actually. I do enjoy a lot about this job. The hot sun is not one of them. So my friend, some of my customers are absolute joy. From the customers I look forward to, we chat, we end up chatting for hours sometimes. Some of them have been described as joyful, but the others definitely make up for it. Aside from the people aspect, because I have to deal with people every day. I was never into plants, even though I grew up in this business. Everything I planted would die. Until I decided, okay, I'm gonna step in and live with my dad and, have this be my job, my opportunity. Now that I've gotten into it, plants are really fascinating. There's so many different avenues you go into, so many different things. I want to go exploring microgreens right now. There's just so many different avenues you can go into. It's a constant learning and a constant education. And I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that something new every day. And I learn a lot from my customers as well, because there's a lot that I learn. I learned this on the job. I had to follow customers around and listen to their questions to get a clue to educate me. I had to listen to what people want in our plants. And then that was my education for myself. And then basically follow my father around. He's trying to explain the chemicals to me. That's a little difficult learning curve with that one. But I do enjoy having constant newness, constant things to learn. I enjoy that part of it a lot. The huts.
We'll get out. You have to some text.
Evil.
Sunscreen, umbrellas, a tent, air conditioned greenhouse.
I have to, but see, I can't because I'm bending down, I'm up and down, I'm not sitting still. So,
Alright, so a customer comes in to the establishment the first time. They want to get a citrus plant, to say it might be orange. Do you have any certain type of questions they might ask before making a purchase on a variety, or how would this go?
The majority of customers don't know that there's still a certain type of orange, and I'll go down the whole list here, about 8 or 9 varieties right now.
Right.
Which is a little confusing.
To the average person.
Which I completely understand, because again, I learned this business from the customer perspective.
Right.
From following them around. So another challenge with this is labeling, because it's out in the elements.
Right, and it could weigh and tear.
Right. And so even if I want to put a picture, I used to have a chart over there, it fades.
Over a period of time. Yeah.
Right. So it's a constant repeating of information, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. But the majority of people will come and say, what is the best orange?
Exactly.
And there's
most tasty, etc., etc.
Right.
Or which one will stay in a certain small factor because my yard not big, but I want orange.
That's another big question. You have any dwarf plants?
Yeah.
And if you tell my father that word, he will take off on a whole other tangent.
Yeah, because remember, we don't know, So you as a customer first time,
right.
I want a tree in my yard and I want an orange tree. Mm-hmm. But you have no clue about taking care of a plant. You have no clue about type of orange. You don't know about watering. You don't know anything. Yeah. You just know you come here and I want an orange tree in my yard and you need to sell me an orange tree in my yard and it better grow.
And people tell them, go and buy a grafted plant. And they don't really even understand what
it means.
They don't even pronounce the word properly. It's a lot, and it's things that I patiently explain, because again, I had to learn along with customers. So people will be, what is the best one? There's not a best. What is the tastiest one? There's not a tastiest, because what I like, you might not like.
Okay.
The more popular orange is Parson Brown. It's really not my favorite. I would go with the pineapple. And then when people see the tag pineapple, these are pineapples like this. That's a pineapple.
Yeah,
orange.
Because the inexperience, so they have to ask because they're not sure.
Yeah. I mean, the average person doesn't know that we have Parson Brown, pineapple, Valencia, Otnick, Navel, King, Tangelo, and Clementine. When I tell people this is like Jason, he say, you're talking Greek? Yeah. I don't know what language.
You just want to know, there's orange tasting sweet. That's the basic question. You go to buy orange. The orange sweet, big man? Yes.
So, right. And so I have learned how to break it down. You want 1 or 2 for your yard, you don't have plenty space, you should go with this Parson Brown here, because it doesn't have to be fully ripe for it to be sweet.
Right.
And it will bear heavily, as opposed to the Valencia, which could be sweeter than the others, but I know you don't want to wait the time for the Valencias at the end of the season. Is June, July, and you carry that before it ripe. So I will give them the extremes. The Parson Brown is early and sweet. The Valencia is late and requires patience, but with it. So I'll give them the 2 extremes and let people make their decision based on that.
Right.
Or they come and they want, I want that orange one. No, the American one. So we have Clementine, which is a Florida orange. So that one, and I kind of counteract those things. I have a lot of pictures on my phone.
that you could actually show them.
Right.
Yeah,
So I'll
because
show people.
see them in a small state and actually seeing a full grown tree.
Right. And
Make
then
a
when
difference.
I throw all these words at people, it just becomes confusing.
They don't
It's
know what you're
much
talking
easier.
about.
Yes.
Just to see.
This is a picture of this is a picture of that. This is how it tastes. And it's much easier to absorb that much information
In a short period of time.
Yeah, you
to
can
conduct
relate
a
it.
sale.
Right.
Because the whole idea is, I come for orange plant, I want to leave with orange plant.
Mm-hmm.
I do all this information. Just
And
give me the best one.
but I also have to give them the lesson. This is a grafted plant, and you have to make sure you pick off all the side shoots. And they're like, side who? What is that? So I have to give that lesson.
And that's it. And I thank.
Right.
I'll say your day.
No, that's fine. That's the one thing. Yes, I repeat all day, and
Right.
that's fine. But the only way for me to counteract having people coming who don't know nothing is to tell them, is to educate them. So I will explain all day and not bother. I will purr, but that's it.
No, you can say I live here and be irregular. And for somebody that's seen to our patients, sometimes she will stay with somebody talking for half an hour, 45 minutes. And they just go. So,
Yeah,
all of that.
No,
it doesn't bother you. You spend the time to transact and give all that information, and after the sale is being conducted, like, I don't want to get the orange again.
Yeah, so
No, I'm not too bothered. Well, yeah, these days when things are slow, yes, I would like everybody to just hand me blue dollars. But if you come in and you don't know anything, right, and you leave and you still don't know anything, you're not going to come back to buy a plant. You're not going to tell anybody anything. It's not going to result in a sale eventually. And I will still have consumers that don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, because sometimes the information when they hear, I need to do this and I know this, it's like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to put the plant and get orange in the next couple of years.
Exactly. People just come for rambutan. I want rambutan. Okay. You have to make sure you put your rambutan in shade. You have to make sure you have access to plenty of water. Oh no, when I put that on a hill and I don't be there on the night, then they have to change their mind.
Right.
Because they need the rambutan in pairs. That's at least $100 investment. And if you're not, that's not a citrus, you can just throw there. So then, they now have information. All right, well, what else you have that I could get? And they will buy something else. Or they will go and come back and find an next spot. And not really that about it.
That's part of the business.
Yeah.
And then they're accustomed to it. So you know how to work with it.
It doesn't bother me. I prefer that you leave here as an educated consumer.
Right.
And you could make better decisions and not be fooled by people who selling other things. That you could now, you have more information to make a better decision. I ain't bothered to explain it all day.
Cool.
Nice. So, how difficult is it for you to find skilled labor? Keep them.
It used to be a problem. This is not, I don't have a pool of skilled people to choose from. You come to me and I teach you. My dad will teach you. It's not like there's a whole bunch of budders and grafters. And a whole bunch of people who understand how citrus production works, because the things that we do is very few people doing it. We build the plant. We produce the plant from seed. And so we have to teach you how to do that. We have to build that whole skill. And the workers that we have now, they're great. We've had 5, 6. Yeah, I think our longest worker has been here, 10 years, off and on. Some of them, they're not always reliable. The crew we have now is fantastic. They're reliable. They will work hard. They will be at the end of the day and see a customer coming in that looks like they want a lot and know that I'm here by myself. And they will ask, you need me to stay and help you? And they will stay and help you. So, right now, in the past we've had a lot of issues with employees, but the crew we have now, not much influence.
Nice. So, if not this job, what would you see yourself doing around this job?
Well, if you can't tell by how much I could talk, my background is communications and public policy, government policy, actually. So, policy making would be something that I'm interested in. However, I don't miss some things that come with rules, like co-workers. And and commuting and traffic
Yes.
and bosses and dressing up. There's a lot of things that I do with, but an area that I'd be interested in is policy making, because the people that making decisions up high up here kind of out of touch with what's going on at the level of people who actually are using the policy effects. So yeah, that is an area that I'd be interested in.
Nice. So, are you a registered farmer?
No, no.
Have you tried to be a registered farmer?
In the past, before I joined the business, my dad had tried and he said it was just a frustrating process. He just gave up on it. He wasn't bothered. I do see the ministry is making efforts to make it much easier. I'm reading the requirements on paper and it seems a lot easier because again, our paperwork for the land is in limbo as it has been since I was in my 20s. So because of that, we had been like, we won't even bother. But now, yeah, this week I do want to go try and see the ministry is, making an effort to make that part easier and have some access to finance.
So if you actually become a registered farmer, what major difference it will make?
Security.
Okay.
See, my biggest issue is security. I want fencing because people just roll in. We go there. Oh, we have Ruskin lemon. Let's come and pick next week, and you go next week, and you just
none. They go.
There's none.
As I said, the owner's gone with it.
The owner's gone with it. They go with it. They've come and they've taken plants out of the bags. They yank the plants out of the bag and just leave empty bags there.
Wow.
So it's a lot, and because land goes all the way down there. I can put silly fencing. I have to put the big expensive security fencing, so it costs a hell of a lot to fence that.
Yeah.
Plus, the neighbors' goats is coming and eat stuff. So my first thing is security. And then of course technology, but the technology is always one of the few things that we could simply buy is like a wood chip to help with soil production. A vehicle to help because we have to transport every big things. But my first thing would be security. We need security. That would be my biggest issue.
No. Who would you say is a typical customer?
Mm-hmm. I don't really have a typical customer. My customers, I have people who just want one plant for their yard. I have people who buy to resell. I have people who have acres of land and they buy by the hundreds. I don't really have a typical. I don't. I have a whole range.
Right. Are children interested in taking over the business?
I'm not sure about taking over. They are, or the older ones are teenagers, 18, 17, 13. That's our older ones. And they come and they help. They do help, but they're teenagers, so it requires some talking to or buffing. They express interest like my dad has taught us how to frame things to appeal to people. So I'll see my nephew's interested in the fish. So I'll say, look, handling them fishes are full PhD level class for me. I don't want to do that. So could you do the fish? And then, we build on the system that we have for using the fish water for the plants and the fertilizer and stuff. So we frame things in that way. And right now we're still at the stage of turning the wheels in their heads. What are you doing after school? And as I said, this business, plant business, it has so many avenues you could go into. So is now to turn the wheels in their head. Well, you could do this part and then you could do that part and we could all benefit from that and get together. So there's interest, but I guess it would be at the interest of a 17, 18-year-old. Yeah.
But at least there's some interest because the average farmer, their children, they want part of anything.
No,
some farmers think when I close my eyes and sell the land.
No. Well, my father he has no sons, and I'm happily here. Okay. I'm happily here doing this. My other two sisters don't even know the price of a plant. But I am happily here doing this. And, there's three daughters, but there's six grandsons. So the older boys, they do come and help. I'll have to ask, but they come and there's a customer who needs have a lot of loading up to do. I call them on side. They come and they load up. They don't like to work for me. They said they don't like to work for me because mommy doesn't pay. Grandpa pays. Mommy pays you. So they don't. I said, you're not working, you're helping.
Yeah.
So they will come and help me. And they will help. If they see things going on, I don't have to call too much. Like, come and just come and do that. They'll step in and do it.
So moving away from your kids, they say, well, younger people on your own. Outside your kids, you seen any younger persons interested in the field?
Yeah.
And when they're interested, what part of it they're interested in? And if you ever hear any of them talking about trying to get into difficulties or challenges they're facing?
Lord. Yeah. I have quite a few people who are coming from YAP. They come in from YAP and they want to, YAP or any other
Program.
agriculture program. They want to learn specifics. They want to actually be on a plant.
Right. Gain hands-on experience.
Right. So they will come and they'll sit and observe while we budding. We teach them the difference between budding and grafting because we say grafting, but the citrus is actually budding. So they'll come and they'll learn and they want to do it. They're interested in doing it. But this particular business is a long-term investment.
Right.
And as a young person, if you don't have a job, and my dad started this year's work in Ministry of Agriculture, if you do not have a job, if you don't have your monthly salary, your weekly salary,
something coming in.
Right. How are you building this?
Your
because
business.
You have to have the material.
Correct.
You have to have not just the material. We have trees growing here, so if you don't have those things, you got to go now find it.
Correct. And it'll be expensive.
It'll
be
time-consuming, expensive.
It's expensive.
And a lot of people think that budding is hard, and it's not really hard. It's just a technique. It's just certain things you have to bear in mind. And as another thing, I learned so much from YouTube, but budding and grafting plants, what I have seen so far doesn't really do a good job of explaining it. So if you're trying to do it like that, then you're just not going to really be successful. So they'll go to UTT and whoever has the programs and they will learn, but it's hard for them to have continuation because they're not actively employed.
Understood.
And trying to do it on the side when there's so many challenges.
Correct, it's tough.
Yeah.
What's the difference between budding and grafting?
So budding uses a chip. One node, one eye. So most citrus, at least for us, we do a side graft. And you would use the part where the leaf is.
Yeah.
Right. You would see on the stem that's a little bit raised. That is one node or one eye. So budding uses one node. Grafting is what we do for the avocados and mangoes. And that uses multiple buds. So you use the end of the branch that has all those little nodes sticking out. And we do a top graft. Or a Z graft. Typically a top graft for the mangoes and avocados. So that has multiple eyes coming out at the top. And the bud is one little chip on the side.
So since you said you want to be involved in policy making, if you were to be Minister of Agriculture for 1 year and you can make one change, two changes, whatever, what change would you make?
One, but you're limited to one.
Two.
Real hands-on education and continuity. Meaning not just surface level solutions. I see financing some money looks like it should be accessible. But when I get this money, I'm experienced, I know what to do with it. But when a young person who did their agricultural course, but they didn't actually do the actual practical work of it, actually making a plant, actually growing the crops and seeing what problems they have to deal with, what the juggling. I think that's practicality in any program, any university program. That practicality is very much just based on the young people that come to me and say, I don't really know much about plants. We haven't gotten to be hands-on. And they just want to come and sit. They just They just want to come and watch or
And
help
observe
or
and
anything.
learn
Yeah, because they feel as if there's a disconnect.
between what's happening in the classroom and what's
Right.
happening on the field.
So then there is, you will be, okay, I got this one, I got this degree and I got this qualification. And I could do this. But when it comes to actually doing it, right, you fail. There's a lot of failure and there is nothing to help you now. Okay, this is what I will try. And this is how to fix the problems that I've had. And it's financially doable to fix these problems and move on. There's not that practicality and continuity. So I think education along definitely with some financial support and security. Security. In this here Trinidad. Security.
Well, you touched on it a little briefly, but what advice you'd give to somebody that is looking to get into this kind of business?
Research. Get in slowly. Um, Align yourself with the people who have experience in the business. If I had to start this by myself, I just wouldn't. I walked into a started business. So if you're coming in with a background in agriculture and this is what you really want to do, I think you need to build slowly at a pace and at an investment level that you are comfortable with. But you have to keep going back to it. You'll get frustrated, you'll get discouraged. You kind of have to roll with it and keep trying and keep educating yourself. But you have to, a lot of this is practical experience and people who've done it. So you kind of have to do that.
Lastly, how do you see the state of agriculture in Trinidad today?
So, a wide-ranging question. I see pockets of progress. I do see pockets of progress. I see a lot of small enterprises, private people, doing their best to educate, doing their best to elevate, and these are people that like really enjoy agriculture. So I would look at social media and would see people who are just passionate about it and they're trying to share their knowledge and share their experience. But on the other hand, there's a lot of I'm not a vegetable farmer. I can barely grow some lettuce. Um, but people who are farming on a small scale, vegetables, crops and stuff, they have a lot of losses to deal with, and a lot of it is because of the weather. They're saying that you can't control. But if you had the finances, if you had the wherewithal, if you had the education to plan from the beginning, then you may have a better end result. So I see pockets of progress, but I think more specified, multi-pronged approach from the government entities needs to step in and build things from the beginning level rather than trying to fix it at the end.
Nice. So,
But you what you mean like that?
yeah,
So you ain't easy. That was the last. Well, you wrap up question. What you mean? You want more questions? You get more questions. Now we could go.
You have plenty of questions and we could continue. So how much did you make last month?
Oh my goodness. You can't do that, man.
$200.
Hey, I question we kill it. I said you up on.
Yeah, but you live. Your business is located a stone throw away from.
The agricultural office.
Yes, and is their presence in the area felt in any way, in your opinion?
They're my customers. They're great. I love them. They're fantastic. I love seeing them. We chat.
All right.
But no, I haven't actually been to the office.
Okay.
They pop in. We have a lot of personnel from the ministry who come in, their customers. When there was citrus screening, they would come in to check our plants to see if we had any. They were, I guess, doing an efficient job with that. So we do know the military agriculture people. They are here. They send people to us because my dad used to send tenants. So they do have a presence here.
Are
you a member of the Wallerfield Farmers Association?
No, I should be. I see it all the time. And I haven't.
So what are we waiting for?
Meetings are in the evening, and when I get inside,
Oh, understood. Okay, so you
and
put it on you, right?
yeah,
Don't put it
yeah.
on them. It's on you.
No, that's definitely me. When I go inside,
That's all right.
yeah. Well, actually, when I'm finished with work, my day continues because I have teenage children in school. So
you do stuff with your kids.
I'm bim bam bam bam. I'm a taxi driver. So when I finally get inside my house, I will make an effort to come out.
Understood.
But yes, that requires some effort. Yeah. Requires some effort because my day just goes on and on and on.
Any closing remarks? Anything you'd like to say?
It's been interesting. It's been nice to have this chat. I think we definitely need to talk to more people involved in agriculture and people who have more experience than me.
And get different experiences and more information and different perspectives.
Because I'm not a young person. I'm fairly young to this business. I have advantages in that this was an established business when I came into it. So
certain things would have been put in place.
Exactly. So there's some perspectives that I don't have because I didn't have to.
You didn't go through the experience,
right?
So you don't know, you don't understand it.
Yeah. So now the last 2 years have been challenging.
Right.
Yes, that is a whole other story by itself.
Understood.
But someone who a young person,
right,
who has come into the business, they will have a much different perspective.
Correct.
Than me when they're trying to actually establish something.
Starting from scratch versus starting and you have something in place that you can say, I have 3 things in place, I need to just continue and add.
I am continuing and I have at my disposal one of the most experienced persons in the field working with you. In the field, in the country. Yeah. That's a serious advantage. Right. I have a lot of advantages. So I think this conversation needs to be had with people from a lot of different backgrounds. We get a wealth of information. And then maybe we could all make bigger pockets of progress. Yeah. Working together instead of looking at individuals fighting and fight to see betterment in the industry. That is really the other thing, we all view each other as competition and we don't have to be. So the market is too big. We don't, no, there is enough for everybody. Yep. There is really enough. And people will come and say, you don't mind teaching me? Come and learn, please. Come and learn. Educate yourself. Give yourself an advantage so you can make better decisions. It's not, we're not in competition with everybody. It doesn't have to be that. It really doesn't have to be that. You'll accomplish a lot more if you move together. One of the main reasons I started the channel and now starting this podcast is because I believe that we're stronger together. And I here to build a community of like-minded individuals that are passionate about agriculture and passionate about sharing knowledge. And that is the description for the channel and the description for the podcast. The more we share, the better we are. We're stronger together, Precisely. Exactly. Exactly. Enough to go around. If how hard it shouldn't be this hard to feed ourselves. No, it really should not be. It should not be. I'm in plants all day. I literally play in dirt all day. And I am in my Facebook planting groups and depending on people like in here for information how to grow a cucumber. Yeah. So people will think, okay, you're in plants and you know what you're doing. No, it's a learning process. Old concept. Yeah. That's it. You're into plants, you know everything about every plant and every disease and every insect and every condition. That's not reality for anybody. You don't. So you really do have to exchange information. I learned so much from my customers. I have plants that I don't know the name of and I put them in front. And as soon as a customer comes looking at it, do you know the names there? And that's how I find things out. I have a start point. I do my research, and then I can get those information. And you just need to communicate with each other. We get a lot more done. So, well, you are the reason that Crew and I are working together. You know that? No, I didn't know. You recommended it. He posted something about making a video, and you tagged me on the post. Yeah. I remember. Because of that, I was the only person to do. I thought you. Yeah. I was just like anybody, by the way. I didn't know I was the only person that did that. So I'd like to thank you for the support because when I had my little digital camera, I came here and spent hours Yeah, Jason has
And
always said.
I still have the footage. I've never edited it and released it because a little while after I got the iPhone and it looked like rubbish. And I said, and Alison has so
Sound
much
like my
knowledge.
children.
She's really humble, but Alison spoke to me for about half an hour about vetiver.
I do. Oh yeah, I
Yes.
had just learned about vetiver. I was just so fascinated by vetiver at that time.
Alison, you all don't sell citrus alone, and you all sell pretty plants as well.
Yes, I have some
And some of the pretty plants have medicinal purposes that I would not know until coming here. I mean, I don't use it, but you know.
Yeah, a lot of the weeds. Now I'm scared to pull out my weed because I walk around eating the persuade.
Yeah.
And I just pick it up and eat it and, you know, taste good.
So any closing remarks?
No, the conversation was good, and definitely in the future we like to have a next one again to get some updates if they did apply to the Farmers Badge, how the process went. If you did join the Wallerfield Farmers Association and go to a meeting and how the meeting went, and yeah, I mean just get some updates. So definitely check it sometime in the future and then compare it to this visit now and see what progress is made and how things going with the business, etc., etc. So the information was definitely good. I also learned some stuff from the podcast here. So yeah,
cool. So thank you for having us. Thank you for the support. And Allison is one of our main sponsors, along with Garden Junkie, Soil Mix, Just Natural Production Services, and a few more that I'm forgetting this home. All of them at home. Right? You have any ginkgo here by chance? Planted?
No, I keep saying I'm going to get into the herbal plants, but again, they grow like weeds.
I think I need to be like ginkgo.
I'm sure I can find some other bush. I'll find some other bush out there. It's not kind of thing. You can experiment,
Yeah, you're trying to kill me.
No, I'm sure you will live.
always wait.
What to kill it will make you stronger. You
Alright, so that's it for this edition of Agri Chat. Thank you, and we hope to see you soon. For those that are listening, we hope you hear us soon. You know. For inquiries, please send emails to plantitshop@gmail.com. Follow on Facebook at Plantit, on Instagram, plantitshop. Feel free to call at 733-4771. Thanks for your support, and thanks for tuning in.